Ukraine's President Zelenskyy, European leaders, the Prime Minister of Japan, they're punching back hard right into Donald Trump's face, exposing his weakness and saying, we're not giving in to you and Vladimir Putin and others who are trying to get us to surrender. Not today, not next year, not ever, Donald. Zelenskyy had a powerful message clearly directed at Trump saying, you want to know what's really going on, Donald? Here's what Zelenskyy wrote. Today, we again heard signals from Moscow that they are preparing to make next year a year of war. These signals are not only for us. It is crucial that our partners see them, and not only see them, but also respond, especially partners in the United States who often say that Russia wants to end the war. Yet the signals coming from Russia are the exact opposite, Donald. Take the form of official orders to their army. It's clearly being directed at Donald, like, stop buying the Russian propaganda. This Russian mindset must be recognized and acted upon. When Russia is in this mindset, it will also undermine diplomacy, seeking through diplomatic language and pressure over specific points in documents to merely mask its desire to destroy Ukraine and Ukrainians and its desire to legitimize Russia's theft of our land. And then come other countries in Europe, which someone in Russia might one day label their so-called historical lands. Real protection is needed against this Russian case history of madness, and we will continue working with all our partners to ensure that protection is placed. In other words, no deal, Donald. We're not capitulating. Stop putting forward these plans that you're calling peace deals that are actually plans of surrender. And by the way, this leaked out as well yesterday, a story that came out in Reuters, and I don't think the timing is coincidental. I think you have all of these intelligence agencies in Europe, the UK, Australia, Canada, Ukraine, elsewhere, getting this message out. So U.S. intelligence reports contradict Putin's denials of being a threat to Europe. Assessment of Russia's intention, as the U.S. intelligence assesses it, is similar to what the British and European security services believe, that Russia has no intention of ever making peace with Ukraine and then wants to take over all of Europe. That's what the United States intelligence services say, while Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and this pathetic regime work against our own intelligence services. So what's actually going down in Europe? Well, the European Council made a very important and bold decision the end of last week to provide Ukraine with financial support of $90 billion for 2026 and 2027. This is going to help with joint infrastructure projects. It will strengthen Ukraine's combat aviation and defense projects, and it will work to help build out more drones and interceptors. And boy, have those been used with a great degree of accuracy and tenacity. Just this past week, a Russian Shadow Fleet tanker, they're no longer safe anywhere, as Spravdy says. The security service of Ukraine has, for the first time, successfully struck a tanker belonging to Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet in neutral waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Wherever the Russians are, Ukraine knows exactly where that Shadow Fleet is. So let me show you what went down. Here you have President Zelenskyy. You have him meeting with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. And you'll hear Zelenskyy saying, Europe just came through big. Because that $90 billion commitment is going to be very helpful and needed for Ukraine, that knows that next year is a year that Russia wants to amplify its war. And with the United States right now basically being on Putin's side, and with Trump going against our own intelligence service, this is exactly what was needed right now. Here's what Zelenskyy said in the meeting that just took place with Poland's prime minister. Let's take a look.
And I think that Europe showed leadership, and this is very important and tough, strong position. Thank you that you supported us. That means for us that Poland supported us, and we heard your voice and your messages without any kind of, you understand, balancing between right or not right decisions. So thank you so much. And using this opportunity, I'm very thankful to Poland, Polish people, for significant support from the very beginning of this war. We counted and count on your support, and we are thankful for our unity.
Now here's what Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk had to say. And what he said is it's either money today or blood tomorrow. And Europe chooses to defend Ukraine because Ukraine is Europe and Europe is Ukraine. Play this clip.
Now we have a simple choice. Either money today or blood tomorrow. And I am not talking about Ukraine only, I am talking about Europe. And this is our decision to make. And only ours. I think all European leaders have to finally rise to this occasion. And this is all what I can say today.
I want to tell you about Article because I've actually been upgrading my space with them and it's been such a great experience. I picked up a storage console and an ottoman and honestly they fit perfectly into my home. The style of the items I got is very mid-century modern, super clean, super timeless, and it works seamlessly alongside everything else I already own. What really stood out to me though is the quality. You could feel it right away. The weight, the craftsmanship, the smooth edges, the sturdy build. These aren't flimsy pieces. They came mostly assembled, packaged incredibly well, and everything felt intentional and well made. Delivery was also a breeze, fast, easy, and the customer service was great to work with. That's something I really appreciate when you're ordering furniture online. Article just makes it effortless to create a stylish, long-lasting home at an unbeatable price. Their collections are curated so well, mid-century modern, coastal, Scandi, everything mixes and matches beautifully. There's no filler here, just consistently high-quality pieces that are built to last. And if you need help, their customer care team is available 7 days a week, even offering free interior design services. Plus, there's a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, so you can shop with confidence. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/Meidas, and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/Meidas, MEIDAS, for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
President Zelenskyy also thanks Prime Minister Takaishi of Japan that provided $6 billion that will strengthen Ukrainian defenses against Russian aggression. We greatly appreciate that Japan takes such a leadership position globally. This is a significant contribution to our resilience. The international order is essential to prevent Russia's twisted war policy from continuing anywhere. Now, President Zelenskyy chose those words very carefully. International rules-based order. What's happening here as well is that Japan also recognizes, again, as Donald Trump is in his own little Trump suck up to Putin world, Japan is very vulnerable now to China. And Taiwan is very vulnerable to China. As Donald Trump is a Xi Jinping bootlicker, the same way he is of Vladimir Putin, these guys are playing Trump like a fiddle. So Japan also recognizes that right now it's Russia, China. So for Japan, it's Japan, Ukraine, Europe, UK, Australia, Canada. And the US is out there with Donald Trump saying, Golden Ballroom, triumphal arch, just do what Putin says. So that's the broader dynamic going on here. You have Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, says the following. He goes, it's not our war. It's a war on another continent. As Jay in Kiev writes, Trump regime, nothing more than a tool of Putin's propaganda machine. Here, play this clip.
There's a reason why this war hasn't ended, and that is because there's complex factors at play. I know that sounds like a throwaway line, but it's true. What we have tried to do in this entire process, and let's be clear about this. I mean, the United States is engaged in this. The president says this, and I'll translate what I think he's trying to say to you in all of this, and I think he's been pretty clear about it, is it's not our war. It's a war in another continent. We have equities, we have engagement in this war, but it's not our war per se. But we have been told by everybody, I think everybody would agree, that there's only one nation on earth, there's only one entity on earth that can actually talk to both sides and figure out whether there's a way to end this war peacefully. And that's the United States.
And speaking of it being nothing more than a Putin propaganda machine, you had Donald Trump saying, look, Ukraine better move quickly on a peace deal with Russia because Putin wants peace. Putin's already agreed, and it's really Zelenskyy who's holding things up. What delusional world are you living in, Donald? President Zelenskyy and Ukraine have always agreed to an immediate ceasefire. It's Russia who doesn't agree to the ceasefire. It's Russia who invaded first and foremost. Let's not get that twisted. Ukraine didn't invade itself. Russia invaded Ukraine to conquer the land and then go after Europe, the rest of Europe next. It's number one. Number two, we all know what's going down here, Donald. We all know what's really happening. And let's just take a look at what Donald Trump says is that they're getting close to something. I hope Ukraine moves quickly. Russia is saying that it wants no peace. It wants to conquer all of eastern Ukraine. That's what Russia's saying. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, there's a meeting this weekend on Ukraine in Florida. What are you hoping will come out of that meeting?
Well, they're getting close to something, but I hope Ukraine moves quickly. I hope Ukraine moves quickly because Russia's there. And, every time they take too much time, then Russia changes their mind. 27,000 soldiers were killed last month.
And even you have Putin, giving a speech earlier this week. Putin said, we want all of our historical territories back. Ukraine doesn't belong to you. Our special operation must be completed. If you listen to what Putin, Dmitry, Yuri Yushakov says, if you listen to what Kirill Dmitriev says, if you listen to what Sergei Lavrov says, listen to these people. They're all saying that they want to take over Ukraine and take over Europe. We just listen to what they're saying. And then, it's just interesting. Like as Donald, the same way Trump's like, I've gotten all this, I've brought in $23 trillion, like Trump just makes up a fake world. Putin does the same thing. Putin is still saying as of the last 24 to 48 hours that Russia controls Kupiansk, that they control the whole Kupiansk area. Zelenskyy was just there. We know that Ukraine drone army defeated Russia's offensive. Like Putin's just making up that he's having success on the front when Ukraine has pushed back here. Like that's the reality of it. But still, you have Donald Trump out there saying 82% of Ukrainians demand a peace deal that Russia wants. It's 82% in the opposite way. 82% do not want to give in to Russia. But here's what Donald Trump says. Let's play this clip.
You think it's time for Zelenskyy to start accepting things. What things are you talking about?
I think he has to be realistic. And I do wonder about, how long is it going to be till they have an election? It's a democracy. It's a long time. They haven't had an election in a long time. It's losing a lot of people. And it's possible that the people, if you look at the polls, I will say 82%, there was a poll that came out, 82% of the people are demanding a settlement be made, Ukrainian people.
So that's the state of play right now. We'll keep you posted every step of the way here, but you have Zelenskyy in Europe. I've showed you before Friedrich Merz, Chancellor of Germany. I've showed you Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's like, we're going to take back Russian-owned, oligarchical-owned football teams or soccer teams. We're taking that back. Europe knows what's happening here. Like Ukraine gets what's happening. They're not getting played by Trump. And Europe and Ukraine have a plan. And Trump looks weaker than ever. And, that's where we are after this year. Trump said he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. This is the new world order right now. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.MeidasTouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.